Bum, bum.
Bum,
Hi.
bum.
Hi, welcome to the Green Room YXE. It is March 31st. I
So be
know.
careful tomorrow morning.
That's right. Oh, that's right.
You want
I
to get
forgot it
some
was April. Oh,
pranked.
no. Oh, no. We are coming to you live. But if you're watching this either live or recorded, hello. And we're coming to you from Saskatchewan, Canada. And I'm Leslie.
And I'm Johnny.
And welcome to our show. This is episode number 10.
Number 10. Episode 10. Hey, I think
We
at
should have had
10,
some balloons or
episode 10, we
something.
get to renegotiate our contract. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe we should
Okay.
hold out. Hold
Yeah.
out for less.
So our week, I hope everybody had a great week. We had a snowstorm here in Saskatoon.
Yeah.
That was an adventure.
It was
But it
like,
didn't last
well, it
very
was like
long.
16 one day and then minus
I don't know.
and blowing snow.
Yeah, I
Big
don't know.
tree broke off down the road there.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy, but we've had a pretty good winter, so can't complain
Right.
too much. It was just a couple of days of activity there. Also, we're getting everything ready. It's been a busy week. Oh, Tiger's better. Our cat is better
He's
because he
better.
was not well for a while.
Bit me. So things are
So
back to
things are
normal.
good. Yep.
Yeah.
And we're kind of getting ready for we have a live streaming event coming up for our band Tucker Lane. That's going to be April 24th. So it's been busy there. Also, happy birthday to my mom. Oh, we have a picture.
Happy birthday, Frankie.
Happy birthday to my mom. It's her birthday today. And there she is. Look at, she's gorgeous. Looks like Raquel Welch there. There I am on the right. I'm holding a basket. I think there's a cat in there. And that's Leah, my sister Leah. So
it's like
anyway,
Easter.
happy birthday to my beautiful, talented mom. I love you.
Love you, Frankie. Happy birthday.
Yeah. So news this week, music news. The sad news is Gene Champagne, who's a drummer for the Killjoys and for Teenage Head now, he's on a respirator. And so we're just sending out love and prayers to him and his wife and his family, and healing prayers that he just gets better soon. And what else is old songs are dominating the iTunes charts, which is kind of weird, like really dominating the iTunes charts.
So people are realizing that was probably the best music.
Well, that's what some people are saying. But number 2 is Zombie by the Cranberries. Number 3, Summer of '69, Bryan Adams, of course. Number 7, Spirit in the Sky. Number 8, Hurt So Good, John Mellencamp. Number 10, Island in the Sun, which is Weezer. And then there's Poison, Billy Idol, Bon Jovi, CCR, like all down the list. And it's like, what is going on? But, it could be just comfort and nostalgia because of the pandemic, or a lot of labels are holding off on putting, like, there's lack of star power because they're holding off on putting out because of the pandemic, new artists and their new stuff. And as well as there's TikTok that are using a lot of older songs. So,
like that Dreams.
That's right. So there's a whole audience out there that are hearing some of the older music for the first time.
Right. I remember the first time I heard Benny Goodman.
Do you?
Well, I don't.
You don't remember the first time. I remember hearing him, but so 1949 is the date. This date, the 45 RPM single record was first introduced by RCA Victor.
45. I used to buy a lot of 45s.
Yeah,
that one.
I know I'm showing my age, but
Northern
I just
Pikes,
loved
Teamland.
going into the record store, like either Sam the Record Man or A&A.
One song per side.
That's right.
That was awesome.
You got 2 songs for 99 cents.
Yeah. And then, bands would come to town and they'd be bringing their singles with them. Like, you go see the Pointed Sticks and you buy their 7-inch. It's awesome. I got a box full of these.
And they would have in Toronto,
Pursuit of
they would have
Happiness.
all of the
Bands
racks.
used to make these.
Yeah, they would have like racks on the walls of like the top 20. It was like Chum FM top 20. Did they have something like that in Saskatoon where you
No, we didn't have 20. We only had 8.
Okay. So in 1958, on this day, Chuck Berry released Johnny Be Good.
I haven't
1964,
heard that. How's that go?
Johnny Be Good.
Oh, that's all. Yeah,
1964, the Beatles filmed a live television performance at the Scale Theater for use in the movie Hard Day's Night. I don't know if you remember that scene where they played all the songs like I Should Have Known Better.
That was the first music movie we played for our son Julian, and it was like, you got to watch this movie, and we watched it probably 5 times with that kid.
Yeah, he loved it.
I love it. It's a great movie.
It is. Also, the Beatles in 1964
on this day had 5 songs in the top 10.
Yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 were all Beatles songs this day in 1964.
Wow. In 1967, Jimi Hendrix stunned fans at the Astoria in London, England, when he poured lighter fluid on his guitar and set it on fire. He suffered hand burns that first time he did it, but he got it down after that because he did it many times. So on this day, back in 1967, that happened. And in 1969, the Guess Who released the single These Eyes.
Wow.
That's a great song. And 1976, Led Zeppelin released Presence. There's
nobody's fault.
Lot of stuff happened on this day. And then Prince also released Sign of the Times in 1987.
Like, what's the big deal about the end of March? We got to get it done by the end of March.
I know. Must be like spring releases or something. And then 2 birthdays.
2 great guitar players.
Yeah.
Mick Ralphs. Bad Company, Mott the Hoople, and Angus Young.
I know. So it's a special day. And
AC/DC's played Saskatoon, haven't they?
I have no idea.
I was away a long time. I can't.
Yeah, and you would have been away maybe when they would have come through.
And did Bad Company or Mott the Hoople play here? I don't know.
Where's Terry Maybe
Hawkins
someone could tell us.
Where's Terry
I
Hawkins?
know. Okay, yes, we need Terry Hawkins on the show again to clear up these things. So it's a special day, and we have 2 special guests on the show tonight. Our second guest is going to be Saskatchewan singer, songwriter, and performer Brock Andrews. But first up, we have a guest who's an experienced composer. He has won numerous awards for music featured in film, television, and commercials. As a drummer, some of his highlight festival performances include Lilith Fair, Juno Fest, and he also performed at the World Expo, Shanghai, China. That I want to hear about that. He has also been featured in several music magazines. His award cabinet includes a Juno, a Western Canadian Music Award, 6 SCMA Awards, and a Showcase Film and Video Award. He currently performs with over a dozen artists. He's also nominated for a couple of 2021 SCMA Awards. And he also owns and runs a studio here in Saskatoon called Big Bang Studios. He is a very busy guy and always has a ton going on. So please welcome to the Green Room YXE, Hal Schrenk.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, hey.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, well, you must be so busy now getting ready for the SCMA Awards. So thank you for taking the time to come on. Oh, it's awesome.
No problem. We're all so busy. Hey, I was sorry to hear about the news about Gene as well. I think the last time I saw him play with the Killjoys was the last time I saw Pursuit of Happiness play.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which would have been, I think it would have been Canadian Music Week, long time ago in Toronto.
Yeah.
They were around same time.
Yeah.
We
played a lot with the Killjoys.
Played a bunch of shows with those guys, and
and
now Gene is in Teenage Head, and our friend Dave Rave was on a couple weeks ago. So we're hoping that he will
get better. He will pull through. Yeah,
he's got to pull through.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So Hal Schrenk, there he is. Look at that face.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
when I see that face, I think like Hal Schrenk, the drummer, because that's how I've seen you and met you, is through you. I've seen you at a gig, several times and playing drums. And that's what I think of. But there, you got so much else going on. And, which is one of the things I love about the people we have on this show, is that they're all, self-starters and go-getters, and they make it happen for themselves.
They
And
do.
that's,
They just go for it
it's
and
what you
don't
gotta
think
do, right?
about it. Just do it.
fearless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like the prairie's way. Like we just get our hands dirty and like to do stuff. I think we just try to do it ourselves, right?
Yeah, and that's what I always say, is learn by doing, right? That's the best way to learn. So
Yeah,
It's true.
I totally agree.
you're gonna make mistakes, but you're at least you're doing something. You're
Yeah.
always moving forward. Keep moving forward.
Yeah, totally.
So reading your bios and stuff, then that's another thing too, is like, so I see you around about, and we, say, how you doing? Have a drink. And, I've been up and seen your studio there, which is awesome, by the way. And,
Oh, thank you.
oh, we don't really sit down and go, it's a social kind of relationship that you have with your musician friends sometimes. And when we do the show, we get to find out more about the people. Like, for instance, you're from Assiniboia.
Yeah, small
That's where you
town.
grew-
Small
So-
town Saskatchewan, like close to the United States border. Awesome. Yeah.
Right.
Very grateful for my roots, 3,500 people there when I was growing up. And everybody knew everybody's name. I had a friend of mine when I went to university who came home with me one time, Michael Taylor, and we would be driving down or walking down the street in Assiniboia, and you wave at everybody and everybody. And he couldn't believe that you would know everybody in the town.
Yeah. Hard to get
That's
away with
amazing.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very hard.
So I was reading that, I remember the plastic pumpkins, and I remember Bic pens, and
Yes.
somehow you were, that's your sort of way, like, hey, that's when a light went off and you were like, I'm going to be a drummer.
Yeah, well, originally, you know what it's like growing up, like years back when you didn't have a lot of television stations. We actually only had 2 stations, one was French and one was English. And just before it went off the air, they would show all these old black and white movies. And originally I wanted to be a tap dancer, because in all these old movies, they'd always have a tap dancer. And there was a tap dancer named Honey Coles, who was this amazing tap dancer. He had a duo with Honey Coles, and Charlie Atkins was his name. So originally I wanted to be a tap dancer, but then one Halloween, after Halloween, I had a plastic pumpkin collecting treats, and I came home, and I think the next day I turned it upside down, and I was playing Bic pens over the pumpkins, and there was blue ink everywhere. And I think my parents heard the racket and came down mortified. And I think they were both upset. And then my dad said, I think we have a drummer. And so then they enrolled me in the community band.
Aw,
Look at that. He's like the sharpest dressed. He's always the sharpest dressed guy in the room.
He is the sharpest dressed guy in the room. It's true.
Look at that bowl haircut, though. That's classic.
That's awesome. Right?
I love it. Oh, I love it. Oh,
That's
great.
funny.
So
Wow. And then
you built
Go
a
ahead.
drum. You've fashioned your own sort of drum kits and stuff. You should maybe one day, because you can now. You go to a Halloween, you see those pumpkins. There's blue ones and pink ones, and they come in all different sizes now. You could actually make a kit.
I really want to. And I think if you could even
Oh,
light
God.
it from the inside.
Oh, wow!
I know.
Well,
Now you're talking.
you know what I find
know.
interesting
Right?
is that, what I found kind of interesting, and just like the tap dancing part, like that's amazing. So you want to be a tap dancer, but tap dancing is very rhythmic, right? Like it's basically kind of
is.
drumming with your feet.
Not the way I tap dance.
Yeah.
No, that's for sure.
Well, and the funny thing is if you go back to people like Buddy Rich was a great tap dancer. And then if you just look at tap dancers like Fred Astaire, he could play the drums well. Or there's so
Wow.
many great tap dancers who could play drums, and almost all the early drummers could dance or tap dance.
Sammy
You know,
Davis Jr.
Sammy
Jr.
Davis is a great
Yeah.
drummer. Yeah,
Yeah.
love
There
his
you go.
stuff.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
there's a
Wow.
connection there for sure.
Right.
So I
Absolutely.
did get some tap dance shoes.
Oh, did you?
But yeah, about 10 years ago, but I've never used them, and I still want to take lessons. So if there's anybody who teaches out there, hit me up. I'll give it a go.
Have you put them on?
I have put them on. They still fit, so I could still do it. So
well,
I'd like to try it, you know.
Man, that'd be great exercise.
I think so, hey?
Yeah.
Well, I can see actually like the Hal Schrenk show. You know, like just come out, do the tap dancing, do some drumming, and then do the more, you know, and then obviously other dancers come out, get back up again, start doing more dance. I can see the Hal Schrenk show. It could totally.
So I'm only going to do that if you guys join me. So you gotta.
I don't know what we would do though.
Well, you got to dance. You'd have to take the lessons with me. Maybe.
Anyway, so you've been a drummer, like that was your focus. You're a drummer, and then you taught drums in high school. You played in MOR bands. You played in a band. It says that you played in your first band when you were 8.
Yeah.
Now, you know, wait a sec. Les and I did some research, and we found that that could happen because the Partridge Family, the drummer in the Partridge Family, I think was 8.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm not saying I was a good drummer, but I was playing when I was 8. But actually, the first band I played in was a band called the Polka Dots. And there was a piano player, a singer, and a guitar player. And we played mostly polka music. And so that was the first touring gig that I got. And we would go around and play these polka fests. And then I graduated to play in rock and roll. And then in those days, we were doing a lot of covers of Elvis and stuff like that, you know? So, and that's the best way to learn, right? You got to do a lot of covers. Just keep doing covers. I still learn covers all the time, man. I love it. You know?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's true. It is. It's a lot of fun learning the parts.
I love hearing these things because it's like, well, now I know why you're Hal Schrenk. That's why, because you've done all this stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
It's cool. Like, and then you at some point, somebody talked some sense into you and said, get an education. Have something to fall back on.
Exactly. That is exactly what my mom and dad said. Have something to fall back on. Yeah. So I went to the University U of R in Regina and got my B.Ed there. And, you know, halfway through it, I just about quit and just pursued music because a couple of my friends, I knew a couple of guys from Moose Jaw named Kevin and Corey Churko, still good friends to this day, as well as my good friend Shane Hendrickson, who grew up in a nearby town called Spring Valley. And he was playing with the Churko family at that time. And I would go to his gigs and think, I should just quit university and go play music. And he was actually the one who said, no, do not quit school. You've only got 2 years left. Just finish off your degree. So I did, you know.
Good for you.
Bachelor of Education at the U of R.
Yeah.
Is that a legitimate school? I'm not sure. Is that
probably not, but I paid them a lot of money.
Right. So then you got in an alternative band called Mary Mary.
Yeah. Mary, that was a lot of fun. You know, I'd played country and rock before that. And then I had a friend of mine, Michael Taylor, and we played together for about 10 or 12 years. And he was from England. And so he had all this English pop sensibility and funk. And I had this Canadian rock and roll influence and some country influence. And then we were like this rhythm section for hire for a while. And then there was a duo called Mary Mary, and they were looking for a rhythm section. And then we ended up joining them, and we played with them for, oh my goodness, it might have been maybe 7 years. So it was a lot of fun. A weird band, I think. It was kind of Peter Gabriel-like. So I wouldn't say that we were popular provincially, but Canadian-wise, I think we made a little bit of a mark. You know, Much Music played our videos. We did a little bit of festival work, and I thought that was my first real step into songwriting. So that was lots of fun, you know.
That's cool. But isn't that great though? Like when you meet other musicians that are have a different influence and a different style and a different sort of, you know, place where they come from as a musician, and you meet and you play together, and then later on when you're a studio guy and, you know, someone says, this is what I'm thinking, you go, I know exactly what you're talking about, right? Because you've had all these experiences through your career that sort of give you that.
Yeah, for sure. And there's, you know, Johnny, both you know, there's some musical styles like reggae, for example, where if you're not playing with some people who have that culturally or they're not really immersed in the musical form, you never really play it right if you don't have somebody telling you what you're doing wrong. So those influences are so important. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's just in the bank, and it's music that and you can just tap into it from time to time. Yeah. So now you have an actual Juno Award?
I have one, yeah. Yeah, I have
awesome.
I got the last time they did the glass one where it swirls around. Yeah, there you go. That's pretty funny. That's funny because it's funny to me because those glasses are fake. And now I actually realize I have glasses just like those almost.
Wow, future.
Yeah, which is funny. But that was with a guy named Chester Knight. And I got a phone call from his manager. At that time, there was a wonderful studio just outside of Regina in Pence, run by a woman named Michelle Garouk, who since has gone on to work with Madonna. She moved to LA with her husband, but she built this world-class studio. And she graduated from Berkeley, and she was a drummer. And so working with her and learning about drum tones and miking was an education that would have cost me a lot of money to pay for. But working with her, I got it for free. And so I got the call from the management to do the work with Chester. And we did it in 1 week. And it was only me and another gentleman named Brent Taylor who played all the other instruments. And then Chester would bring in these songs, and then we'd jam them, and then we'd lay a track down and move on to the next. Yeah.
Brent Taylor, the Brent Taylor that plays with Kelly Reid?
The Brent Taylor, yeah. He played the bass on the record. He played the acoustic guitars along with Chester, who played acoustic guitars. He played some of the keyboard parts, all the guitar solo stuff. I think Michelle might have added some keyboard stuff.
Wow.
So, yeah. It was crazy how fast it all happened. And I thought it was really good stuff, but I had no idea that it would win a Juno, of course. But
yeah. And what was the category?
The category was best Aboriginal record, best Aboriginal album.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I think, believe it or not, I'd been nominated twice before, or not me personally, but a band that I'd been involved in, which was a children's band, had been nominated twice before, and we lost both times. Well, we lost one time to Fred Penner and one time to Shares, Lois, and Bram. And so the third time when Chester was nominated, I was like, I'm not going to go to the Junos because I never had any luck there. And then I was watching it live on TV, and then it won. So crazy.
Yeah,
one time I don't go.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah,
that's awesome. Wow. I think we were nominated in Pursuit of Happiness for best video or something. We didn't win anything.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway. Was Johnny? Was that hard to laugh?
No, I know I can't remember.
I can't remember.
I love that song, by the way. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Snare drum. The snare drum on that song, like between that and Yes, made me start tuning my snare drums higher. Great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
great song.
That was kind of the 80s sound for snares for quite a while, though, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah. I think the Police made it happen with Copeland's playing, and then Yes made it happen with that owner of a Lonely Heart, and then it sort of infiltrated into Canada. But your record it was a little meatier. It wasn't a very thin high snare. It was rock and roll. Yeah, nice job.
Hey, who's your favorite drummer?
That's such a tough question. I really love Stuart Copeland. My favorite is probably a guy named Manu Katché that a lot of people might not know, but he's played with Sting, Peter Gabriel, Julia Fordham. Like probably most of my favorite records that came out in the 90s was probably either Manu Katché or Vinnie Colaiuta. So those two guys. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned Stuart Copeland. What's your favorite Police album?
This is really funny because 2 nights ago I was watching a documentary with Hugh Padgham. He's one of my favorite producers, and he did the Synchronicity record. And I'll email you the link afterwards because he told some really cool stories. Probably my favorite record is Reggae de Blanc, the first one. It's just got some punk angst in it. And the second one would be Probably Synchronicity. And my favorite song off of Synchronicity is Murder by Numbers. So, which was kind of a B-side, I think.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Awesome.
made the trek to Regina and saw the Police with XTC opening.
Oh,
That would
You
have
told me
been,
that. That's right. Yeah.
I
That would have
can't
been
remember what
something.
year. Yeah, it was Ghost in the Machine, that tour,
Mm.
I believe.
Mm.
yeah,
Anyway,
that Ghost in the Machine was their second last record, right?
yeah,
I think it was.
you'd
Yeah.
be right. Cool. Do you play much reggae?
No, I really love reggae. I haven't played in a reggae band. The favorite reggae that I do like is Keith Richards and the Expensive Winos. He
Oh
does
my
a little
God.
bit of reggae on
Yeah.
his stuff,
Yeah.
and he's got two of my favorite drummers on that record, on any Expensive Wino record. So he's got Steve Jordan, of course. He's probably my favorite drummer, actually. And who's the drummer who also plays bass on those records?
Steve Jordan?
Yeah.
No, there's the guy who plays bass with the Expensive Winos also plays drums, and so live they'll switch.
Right.
And yeah, so if you listen to that first record, there's a reggae tune where Steve Jordan is not playing drums, he's playing bass, and it's just so slippery. It's great. Yeah.
Oh, that album's just so good.
Oh, I know. It's like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Remember how upset we were? He came and played Massey Hall in Toronto, and it was tickets sold out like in.
Yeah. I
you know,
think I
like-
cried. Yeah.
So like,
yeah.
that'd be
Was
fun.
that when the first record came out? Like The Talk Is Cheap, or was that main of? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a really good video when he played the Palladium, when he did that record, and it's like, I mean, that band has probably some of my favorite musicians. It's just so good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
No kidding. Yeah.
so raw. The songwriting's fabulous. You know, I'm a massive Rolling Stones fan, but I was never as much of a fan of Mick Jagger's solo records.
No, me
No,
too.
yeah, I know.
No,
That's okay.
No.
I was just going to point this out actually, because we were listening to your. By the way, Hal, when he found out we were going to come on the show and talk with us and hang out, he sent us a package with all the recent CDs that he's produced in it, and a nice chocolate bar, which I ate.
It's
by the way.
beautiful
Thank you.
and yummy.
You didn't share the chocolate bar?
She won't eat it.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
I like white chocolate for the next package
okay.
you send.
Okay.
but anyways, you know what? Now that we're talking about this, the woodwinds that are on Keith's first record and even Main Offender too, have that sort of really rich graininess in tone. And we were talking this afternoon, and I said the horns that you've recorded, was it on JJ?
There's some on Jay's record, and some on Jay and Joe.
Jay and Joe, right.
Yeah.
And it's like they all had that real richness and coarseness. You know what I'm talking about? It was real. It was like you actually had, the mics placed correctly so you could get this.
You could feel it,
capture it. You know,
Yeah,
it was like it wasn't just like that sounds like a horn. It was a horn. So that was great. So,
wow, thanks, man.
Really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you just sort of self-taught studio recording? How'd that all begin for you?
Yeah, kind of. Like, when I was young, I played in a band. I was, and the guitar player worked for CBC. So he got us a session at CBC when I was really young. We did about 3 songs. And I remember one of the songs was Something's Burning, which was a Kenny Rogers and the First Edition song. And I couldn't get the bass drum part down. So I ended up overdubbing it. And I never knew that you could overdub stuff. And then from that point on, I was fascinated with recording. And that was on 2-inch. We were hauling up, 2-inch reels and recording on that. And after that, I was totally fascinated. So then I moved on to everything from cassette to DAT, and then finally now to computer on Pro Tools. And so I've always been fascinated with recording, always.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, it's amazing how, when you're working on a guitar sound and then you go in the room and you come back in, it doesn't sound anything like it does in the other room. So you always got to think of like what's coming out of the speakers in front of you, right?
100%. And, I think the main thing, I mean, you'll probably agree, it's the continuing education on that, the source sound, the person playing the instrument, and your tone. If it's not good there, nothing's going to make it better. I used to think that I could, when I heard other drummers, I used to think, oh, I could sound like that. And then as soon as you start recording yourself, you realize I'd have to play like that in order to sound like that. And then you go through that phase where you have to find your voice on your instrument and then be comfortable with it and then sort of go from there. That's a good starting block, right?
Right.
Well, yeah. And it's, you're also trying to capture something, right? Like, there's some bands that we've gone to see live, that we won't mention any names, but we've seen some bands live, and then we purchased their CD and we're like, damn, this is not as good as it was live. There was some energy there that was just like, it's missing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a great thing that, like, I think Todd with Pursuit of Happiness, like, he saw something live and he was really able to capture that energy.
Oh,
so it's just
100%
that energy, right? It's so important to do that.
Yeah, but
it is.
You can still build a performance that has energy.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely,
but
for sure.
When you have a reputation as a really good live band, and you go and you make a record and it comes out flat,
yeah.
And at that point, that's like, what do you do? What can you do? You're an indie band, maybe. You spent your money, and it's like, it doesn't really feel, doesn't really represent you.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's a hard road. It's a hard road to sow. So
it's hard. Like, I think it goes both ways too. Like, I've had the same experience where you see a live band with a certain energy and then you buy the CD and you're disappointed. And I've also been in the position where I buy a CD and listen to the band and then you see them live and you're disappointed.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah.
There has to be some point in there to get the integrity of both sides being equal. I think that's a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think though that the important thing would be to make a good record. Because any band can have a bad night, right?
That's true.
And that record will live on.
Yeah,
true. So.
Yeah. True. You just got to make a good record, right?
But it is true what you're saying there, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sort of going to bounce around here a bit now. When we first moved back to Saskatoon, I remember seeing the band name Mo Badass.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because I never saw you guys, but and I didn't, and until I read your bio, I didn't even really know you were in that band.
Yeah, well, that was so much fun the time that we did that. And the way that it happened, I mean, Earl Pereira was the cornerstone of that band. And we knew each other just a tiny bit. He was super busy with Wide Mouse Mason at the time. And I distinctly remember one Christmas, my parents were living in Medicine Hat. So I went to Medicine Hat for Christmas and my phone rang. I think it was even the night before Christmas. And Earl Pereira, he says, "Hey, Hal, it's Earl Pereira." And I don't even know how he got my number because I didn't know him well. And he said, "Hey, I'm putting together this band. Do you want to play together? We're going to play Boxing Day." And that was it. I drove back Boxing Day in the morning and played with him that night. We played 3 sets. And he was just calling out songs and we were playing them. And that was the start of the band. And the other person in the band at that time was me, Earl, and Efren, his older brother, who is a phenomenal guitar player and a phenomenal bass player. They're both great singers. So it was lots of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, that was like, so it was, you had a good run with that. You toured Canada?
We toured. We had a thing called the West Coast Connection, which was another full band and called DNA. They later became DNA 6. And they had an MC and a horn player, another guitar player. And so we would go together and form one band, and then we would tour everywhere. We didn't ever get out to Toronto with Mo Badass, but we would go everything from Winnipeg all the way to Victoria and over again. And it was awesome. Good times in that band, man.
Right.
Yeah.
And your music actually took you to China.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's funny.
That.
Yeah, that's funny because it was actually in this studio here. So I just finished building this studio and I had a neighbor who was about 5 doors down who was a sax player named Mark DeYoung. And I was in here just at the start of the build and my cell phone rang and he said, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know. I'm just in the studio." And he said, "Hey, I've got this gig at Boffin's, this jazz gig. Do you want to come and play?" So I he was a quiet gig. So I just grabbed a snare and some brushes and a kick drum and we played this jazz gig. And then I probably played maybe a half a dozen gigs with him in a jazz format. And then shortly after that, he moved to Calgary, where he still lives. And he had a couple different bands there. One of them was called The Outer Bridge. He had another trio that he did there. And then he had applied to perform at World Expo in Shanghai. And his drummer, who is Jerome Jennings is his name, who is a killer drummer. He plays with Christian McBride right now, who is like the top jazz bass player in North America, I think. And he couldn't do the gig, so he just called me up. I had enough leeway, but he called me up maybe 4 months and said, hey, would you do this gig? And it's me and a bass player named Simon Fisk. And I said, sure. But then the problem was they never sent me music, never sent me any music until I drove to Calgary, spent the evening going over music with Simon, and then we got on a plane for 12 hours, and I read the rest of the music on the way there. So it was it was a crazy gig. Yeah, I have to admit I was ill-equipped for sure, you know.
Wow.
And Simon, if you've ever seen him, he's the guy who makes plunge earplugs. He makes probably really great in-ears. He's out of Calgary, and he doesn't like even time signatures. So I remember one song was called UV, and it was written in a bar 5, a bar 5, a bar 3, a bar 5, a bar 5, a bar 3. And he had one song that was in 3/4 that I loved playing because I could understand what was going on. But for the most part, it was in these crazy signatures. But it was great. We had a great time. Circus Olay looked after us. They set up the tour. They set up our transport, and we were there for a week. We played for a full week in different places. And then at the end of the week, we played on this big stage with Circus Olay, who would do an act while we played up some music. So it was pretty mind-blowing. Yeah,
no
it was lots of fun.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's amazing.
Crazy times.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So one other thing I want to touch on. You played with Mary Margaret O'Hara?
Mary Margaret O'Hara is my favorite. And I love Miss America. It's one of my favorite records. I've been fascinated with that record from the day it came out. And this is a really crazy story. So the year that I played for her, which was in the spring, that Christmas, it was in December, I was watching TV. I was watching Much Music, and there was a Christmas special that came on with Mary Margaret O'Hara. And she was singing a song called This Is What I Want, which is a great Christmas song. And she, after the show was done, I remember saying to a buddy of mine, I'm like, oh man, I just love Mary Margaret O'Hara. I would just love to play with her one day. And then fast forward, about 3 months later, my phone rang out of the blue. It was a friend of mine who's a videographer. And he said, hey, Hal, I just wanted to let you know that Mary Margaret's looking for a drummer, and I recommended you for the gig. And I was like, what? And he said, yeah, here's the phone number. She actually has a sister who lives in Saskatoon. Give her a call after 6 o'clock. And the jazz band that I was telling you about that played at Boffin's, I was actually doing a gig with Mark DeYoung. And I go to the gig, play the gig, and I look at this letter and I said, okay, well, or this note. And I was like, I got to call Mary Margaret O'Hara. And I'm still thinking that this is probably a joke, maybe. I couldn't believe it. So I rang the number up and I called the number, and this guy answered, and I said, yeah, is Mary Margaret O'Hara there? And he's like, yeah, sure. And you guys probably know Mary Margaret O'Hara, so you'll enjoy the story. And she comes on the line, and she's got this bubbliness and energy that it's hard to describe. And she's like, I said, hey, Margaret, it's Hal. She goes, oh, it's Hal. It's like, do you rock? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. And she's like, can you swing? And I was like, maybe. And she goes, awesome, you're hired for the gig. It's next Saturday. And then that was it.
Wow.
So she flew in with her, she had her guitar player flown in. I can't remember his name. It'll maybe come to me. And we rehearsed in this studio, and I had learned all the songs on that Miss America song. And there's some of them that are quite odd if you know the record. Like there are weird time signatures on one of the songs and really eclectic drum tones. And so I did everything I could to learn everything inside out. And then she showed up and came in here, and she said all she wanted to do was K-Tel songs from K-Tel Records. And she did one song, one that it's a very simple song. has a really great bass line. What is that? Oh, anyway, she did one song off that record, and
wow.
yeah, other than that, it was all swing stuff and some jazz stuff.
Yeah, wow. Well, that's funny.
Wow.
That's funny because no, we don't know her. And
Okay.
when that record was out, it was all a buzz in Toronto. We were living in Toronto, and there'd be rumor that she was going to play somewhere, and we'd go, and oh, she's not coming tonight, or
Yeah,
there's
that's
no show,
right.
right?
That's
And then you
right.
sort of
Yeah.
go, oh, okay, and then you go, oh, she's supposed to. Let's go there, and it's like, oh, she didn't show up.
I think we did at the Diamond Club one
Yeah,
time.
it was just
yeah.
it was just
Yeah.
so we never got to. We tried, but we
Yeah.
never got to see her perform. I know some people did. It was rare. It was like a rare.
Sasquatch.
Like Sasquatch.
Like a rare
She was amazing. Like when she came here, she snuck away to get some tea, and she didn't come back for about a half an hour because she was inside my house talking to friends, and she didn't want to come back and rehearse, you know. And I remember when she came back and into the studio here, and she sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and it was just, even thinking about it makes me emotional. It was just amazing. And she looked over at me like I was supposed to play something, and I was like, I'm not touching anything in this song. It was, and she could do these crazy things with her voice where I can't even explain it. It was just, and she just so honest on stage. She just is who she is. I had so much fun. And then, so we played together, and then we had a house party at her house the next night, and then we jammed there. And then that was all. I didn't see her again, but then about a week later, my cell phone rings, and I pick it up, and she goes, "Hey, Hal, it's Mary Margaret O'Hara. Happy anniversary." And I was like, "Happy anniversary." She goes, "Yeah, it's been a week since we played together."
That's awesome.
You know?
Aw.
Yeah, she
Well,
was just
Great.
Don't be surprised if I call you in a week and say, "Hey,
yeah.
on the air here today."
Well, you've got a fantastic drummer. I think we could do double drummers, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Warren's
fun.
awesome, and he actually sent in a message here that said,
We got a couple messages.
Simon
for
and
you.
Plunge Audio are awesome. Great plug, Hal Schrenk.
And
And Kevin Knopf, Hal, hey man, good to see you here. I've only recently become friends with Kevin, and he seems like a very nice guy. And Peggy's commenting on my hair. we were talking about earlier.
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
He's got the COVID haircut.
Yeah. So quickly here, Hal. Before we go, I would like to talk to you more about Big Bang Studios, and if anyone is interested in making some recordings, check out Hal Schrenk at his website or whatever. Awesome sounding stuff, and probably a very pleasant, knowledgeable person to work with. But quickly, we want to talk about the SCMA Awards because they're sort of ever present right now, and we want to sort of touch on that. And your involvement is sort of you're nominated for a couple of awards, your studio being one of them, and producer, right?
For album of the year.
Joe.
Yeah, producer.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, but so those two nominations. Congratulations, and we wish you well. And, but behind the scenes, you're involved in the sort of the production of the whole event.
Yeah, I've been a part of. Originally, I was a part of the house band, and then I took over the duties as music director, which I've been doing for a couple of years now. I love it. Now, this year's a little bit different because it's hybrid. Because I've been just looking after getting the artists herded together and get their videos so that we can upload them onto the website, or actually not upload them onto a website, and then we use them later for the broadcast. But I've had a really great experiences working with the house band. We've had some fantastic guests who've performed on the show. It's just been awesome. I really love the SCMAs. I really love the community, Saskatchewan Country Music Association, and all the members. It's just a really group of fine people. And there's a lot of networking that can happen really fast. That's where I met you guys. Right. So it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Jay and Joe album sounds great too. It's just very sweet. Like yeah.
The Philip Lewins one too was really enjoyable. It reminded me of, I said, let's just kind of has some elements that are like What's that movie?
Brother, where art
Brother,
thou?
Where Art Thou?
Yeah, that's
there's
funny
some-
because that's sort of what I used as a staple to what I wanted it to sound like. You know, I mean, I say I wanted to sound like, but really it's what, you know, Philip's just the way that he is demanded the way that it would sound. I mean, I think, yeah, I think my goal, I just try to be as transparent as I can in production and kind of just help things along. You know, when you're working with people like Philip Lewins, I mean, he's the kind of guy that when we cut the vocals for that record, he went into the vocal booth and I remember one time specifically, he sang the song, he came out and I looked at him and I said, you know, maybe you could do something a little bit better in that bridge. And he just looked at me and said, what would I do different? And that was it. Everything was one take with that guy, you know. And when he came in, it was in between pulling calves and putting down a crop. Like he's a real farmer cattleman, so he's the real deal, you know.
I really enjoyed it. So
yeah.
Good
and
job,
with Jay and Joe, they're such good, really great singers and both great musicians. It makes the job super easy, you know.
Where are they from? Are they from Saskatoon?
They're from around Prince Albert, originally from a place called Honeymoon. Now Janaea is living in Alberta and Joe is still in Saskatchewan. But I first met them as a family band through the SCMAs, actually. And that's how I first met them. I had no idea that they wrote their own songs. That sort of came into being later on. But
right.
Yeah.
We have to have them on the show sometime.
Well, yeah, we should. I guess we're gonna say see you next time.
Yeah, hopefully we can have you on again.
Yeah, you know what? If you ever want to come on and talk about what you're doing, there's plenty more we can talk about that we've really scratched the surface.
Yeah, no kidding.
I love watching you play. Some of my favorite drummers are the most entertaining to watch, like Keith Moon, you know, even Ringo. Even Ringo had his thing.
Yeah.
But there's a guy that came the last time Rock the River was on with the Romantics. His name is Brad Elvis. He played in a band called the Elvis Brothers.
Oh, I've never heard of him.
And he was just like, you know, an old guy with, you know, the jet black hair. He's obviously a relic from the 80s, like, you know, a lot of us, right? And a lot of personality, just so much fun to watch. Rick Mank, another guy.
Rick Mank. Do you know who Rick Mank is? Oh my God.
And you're right in there watching you play. It's like, you know, he could be making a stir fry while he's doing that too.
Exactly. The same look. It's just calm.
You should get a walk. And just chop some vegetables, throw them in there. It looks like you always got room for something else, and it's just so entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
I look forward to the next time.
I appreciate that.
Be in the room when you're banging on the drums there. So
thank you.
Thanks.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me a guest, and congratulations on your new record. I've listened to it from top to finish. It's awesome. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you.
Okay.
And we will be seeing you and we'll be in touch. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on, Hal. So great chatting with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Take care.
Okay. Peace out.
So that was awesome. Talking with Hal. We're taking a quick break here to do a shout out to our sponsor, Field Fox Gardens and Cookery. Field Fox Gardens and Cookery is a food preparation and delivery service in Saskatoon. They are 100% gluten-free and organic and only use quality ingredients found close to home. Field Fox has just launched the pre-selling of lasagna in your choice of 2 sizes. They are proud to partner with Farm 140 to provide grass-fed beef in this carefully prepared classic meal that is delivered frozen for your convenience. In the coming days and weeks, the menu will grow to include fresh salads, condiments, spice blends, and more frozen prepared meals to suit every lifestyle. Their products are soon to be featured at SaskMade Marketplace, which only sells the best local goods. So please visit fieldfox.ca to order your lasagna and sign up for the newsletter to be notified as the menu expands. I know we're getting our lasagna. Just take a night off and have some really amazing organic gluten-free food.
A good feel-good meal.
Yeah, no kidding.
Get on that
comfort food.
Get on that mailing list and help a local business.
That's right. That's right. Sure. So we're gonna now bring up our second guest that we're really excited about. He's an artist who proudly represents Saskatchewan on stages across North America. He started his music career with the launch of his first full-length album, 8, in 2016. He achieved international radio play across Canada and into the southern states with 6 songs from the album. He's an award-winning singer, songwriter, and 2020 was actually a great year for him with his single Radio, spending 19 weeks on the country top 100. And his single, What I See, is currently being played across the country. He's also nominated for a couple of SCMA Awards. Please welcome to the Green Room YXE, Brock Andrews.
Hey guys,
Brock.
it's nice to be here.
Okay. Hey, could you move aside? I want to look at your
Yeah.
guitar.
I
No
had to borrow them.
kidding.
I borrowed them from the guys in the band just for you guys.
Oh, right.
Oh, they look sweet.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, first of all, congratulations on your nominations.
Thank you guys.
Congrats.
Thank you.
You seem to be the perennial kind of guy. Ever since we joined the SCMA in 2015, you've been very popular. Let's put it that way.
Oh
So-
wow, thank
so
you.
It's yeah. I just want to find out, like, where are you right now? Are you in Wilkie?
No, I'm in
Oh,
Saskatchewan.
okay.
Yeah.
So you're on your website. Your address said Wilkie, and I was like,
That's just so you don't have a street address.
oh, gotcha.
So nobody can find you.
It's a
Right,
long way
box
to go, It's a
office.
long way to go to
Yeah.
get your mail.
Yeah, so I actually did some high school years there. My parents lived in Wilkie for just about 20 years.
Oh wow!
Ah.
And so you
Yeah.
you're born and raised in Saskatchewan, like you're.
Yeah, Saskatoon I was born in, and spent some time in Wilkie, and then graduated in North Battleford, and have a lot of roots to Allen, Bradwell, Inglefeld, Watson areas.
I love this. I left the province in 1984, shortly after high school. So my Saskatchewan geography is kind of like I'm still learning. So someone says, "Oh, it's out by."
Are you? I always think that you know
Well, no, I
all
don't.
on
I
Saskatchewan.
try to pay attention.
But I don't know. Like, where is Wilkie?
You
Tell me
fake it
about
really well, Johnny.
Yeah, right. Well, Wilkie, if you go North Battleford, is like kind of up here.
To the
and-
east? When you say
Yeah.
up here.
Well, north, yeah, but when we go to the lake,
Yes.
right? We go
Yeah.
up that highway and we go.
Yeah,
to North
yeah.
Battleford.
Yeah.
So Wilkie's on the other side of the river in that valley that we see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but kind of like a 45-degree.
Is there a
angle,
bridge
about, like,
somewhere?
what, half hour southwest of Battleford.
That is, well done,
Hey.
sir. See, I told you you fake it well. You knew it.
Well,
So-
I like maps.
He does. He's really good at geography.
Back in
Do
the
you
day,
do you have actual maps in your car?
Brock, I kid you not, back in the day, we used to go on tour for months at a time with nothing but a street address and a Rand McNally map.
Yeah. And I would be the
Right?
navigator. I would sit
Yeah.
there with the map
Yeah.
and I don't know how I managed to do
Well,
it.
we did it, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I was raised, like, I don't know if you guys know, but my parents were in a band in the late 70s, early 80s. And I was raised that as soon as I had my driver's license, I had a physical map in the door for every single city in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. Just in case I randomly ended up there, I had a map. Like, it was,
Wow.
Yeah,
So
no,
I'm
for
with
sure.
you guys. I love that.
Yeah. And
yeah.
I would imagine that your parents would tell you, need a map. You have
Yeah.
to have a map. You got to know where you're going.
Yeah,
exactly.
the flip phone back then didn't do anything for you.
No,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's just like life. You need a map. You need to know where you're going.
Exactly.
Right? So your parents, this is news to me. Your parents
Mm.
were in a band together. Is that where they met?
Yeah.
Or is that where they started
Yeah.
a band after they met? Or
Yeah, so my biological parents were in a band in the late 70s called Dear Friends, and they toured through all of Western Canada, and they had a couple albums out, and they were really prominent here in Saskatchewan. And
Wow.
yeah. And
did you
then so it's,
say, did you say dear friends?
I did, yeah.
And that was there a bad accident with that?
Yes, there definitely was, yeah. Yeah, so
Yes.
in 84, my father actually passed away. He was in. We were all in the accident actually, and
You were there. You were there as well.
yeah, they were on tour. Yeah, me and my brother were in the vehicle.
They were
Yeah.
on your way
Oh,
to. You were just
Brock.
leaving
Yeah.
Shaunavon, or on your way to Shaunavon?
They were on their way to Banff, I believe. Yeah, it was just outside of I'm drawing a blank, but sorry, I know the name. I'm just forgetting the name for the moment. But yeah, Southeast Alberta. They were on the major highway going up to Banff. But yeah, if you that's where the love for everything came from. I grew up with guitars in my basement, and grew up listening to my parents' records, and hearing the stories from people who would literally stop by our house when I was 12 and ring the doorbell because they wanted to meet my mom and purchase a record from the Tickle Trunk downstairs, so
Right.
it's just such a lifelong love affair.
Wow. Okay.
That's.
How
Oh
did
my
you guys
God.
know the name? Did you guys
No, I'm trying to think. Like, was Neil Morgan?
yes.
Yeah, and Neil
Yep.
and I were friends.
Wow.
Neil and I. Neil was in the Idols,
Yep.
and we'd hang out sometimes, and we'd get together and jam, and he would teach me basically songs for me to play on the bass. He was one of my first
Wow.
sort of mentors, actually, and
Wow.
super great guy. Hung out a lot, loved him dearly, and there's a very, very peculiar story about this. Is that I got a postcard from Neil in the mail the day I heard the news that he had been killed in a car accident.
Wow.
So
Oh,
I'm terribly sorry to bring that up tonight, but
yeah. No, that's
it explains your passion and your
Yeah, no kidding. Like,
yeah,
just that
yeah.
connection that you have, like, to
and
music and that
Sybil
love
was
and with your parents. Like, oh my
yeah.
goodness.
Yeah,
Wow.
and
So you go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was gonna say I think everybody has a story, right? That'll break your heart, and I'm very thankful that I was raised by an incredible single mother who remarried when I was 7 to an incredible man who I'm proud to call my dad. And it just I don't know. Everybody's got loss in their lives, and it's how it molds you. And as a songwriter, I think that my song "Radio" that I released last year, it's about when I was a little kid. My dad's convertible was in the garage, and my dad was no longer with us, and we ended up selling the car just because mice were kind of getting into it, and because we had the gravel in the garage at that time. And I just remember the imagery of sitting in the passenger seat and pretending that you're driving the car, when you're 16, that kind of thing, and turning on the radio. And as I kind of grew up, I did have like moments where, if you're going through like a breakup or something like that, you turn on the radio and kind of pretend the next song is kind of a message from them, And so I think just the love affair that I've grown up with, I'm quite blessed to have such a great connection to music, and to have something that's always there in my life, and to have people watching out for me regardless of where we go, and to be able to give those lessons to my little girls too is a pretty good blessing.
Right. Well,
No kidding.
I was
Yeah.
raised by a single mother as well, so I know where you're coming from there in that sense. But
Yeah.
the passion that you have for music, we always sort of talk about this, and the people that are all that we talk to here are usually people that just go for it. And when I first moved back, and I think the first time I met you was at a
Mhm.
Sask music event or something like that, and we talked in the street briefly about your representation for Fender guitars and
Yeah, yeah.
music, but
Yep.
but so in your bio it says in 2008 that's when you launched your music careers with your album.
2016, I think.
2016,
Yeah.
sorry, 2016. Sorry. Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. But
Well, so yeah.
but you must have done stuff leading up to that, because
Yeah, for
you're
sure.
talking about, so was it high school bands? Were you
Oh yeah. All of
woodshedding at
it.
home? All of it, yeah.
Yeah, you
So
know what's honestly crazy is I think you guys know this well too, right? I think it's the support mechanisms that are in your life that allow you to chase goals. I think that since 2016, it's every single year is just kind of put your head down and go, and like you say, it's just kind of that mentality of just continue and continue and drive and drive and drive. And to me, there really is no what's the end goal. It's a great business that I get to have with some of my best friends who are incredible musicians that I share a stage with. We get to release songs and we get to have fun, and you sometimes make some money that can help pay for things, for your family. And it's just, all in all, it's wonderful. And I think that for a very long time, I don't think I had the confidence to invest in myself into as a songwriter or a performer, and to really kind of chase dreams until I met my fiance Shannon. So she really in 2016 kind of said, you know what, like, big regret of yours will always be not putting some money behind some of these songs you've been writing for the last decade, and putting it out there and seeing what it can do. So that I did that, with her support, and with that, that foundation being built, and it debuted on the top 10 of iTunes. So we've been running ever since.
Yeah, I mean,
That's awesome.
that in itself is awesome. That's great to have the support from your wife like that too.
Yeah, no
Thank,
kidding. That's
thank you,
what.
Shannon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no
So,
kidding. That's just, to have that. You're supposed to lift one another up in relationships. So that's amazing. Yeah.
So just
She
go for
definitely
it.
does.
Just go for it. And
Yeah.
that's what
Totally.
we always tell people, say, I've got these songs, or can you talk to my son, or Johnny, what should I do? Leslie, what do you think we should do? And it's like, get out and play.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Get out and play a coffee house, put a band together and get gigs, and just get out and do it.
Mhm.
And the fact that so many musicians that have so much talent that just don't do that.
No, yeah.
That's the saddest part of music to me, is that people who have a gift don't share it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and to be able to do that, it is a bit of charity work. You got to get out and you got to hustle and you got to put yourself out there, but
Yeah, you're not getting paid. That's for sure.
you got to do it.
You're getting paid for the
You
work.
got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you must have been so excited coming out with that album in 2016. That must have just been like, wow, I'm finally, with just that support, I'm getting it out there, getting the music out there. Like, that anticipation must have been amazing.
Yeah, I think, it's really interesting because I think every single time you pass a milestone, you guys know this well too. You guys have been such a fantastic career, and you guys are continuing to kill it with your new album and all your social media stuff. It's great. I follow you guys all the time, and I think, like you say, I think in the first couple of years you apply for the grants and you send an album over to this record label, or you send some demos over to this person over there, and after a couple of years of all the no's and not getting any grants or not getting any sponsors or anything, you just kind of go, it kind of put your head down. And I put my head back up when Shannon came in my life and gave me that support. And now it's a continual, there is no real goals. You know what I mean? It's just, let's get it done. Let's do things. It's like this year right now, we're signed on to a bunch of festivals. The festivals might not happen. So we're making shows. We're calling theaters and we're booking places, and we're going, oh, hey, okay, well, and it's just the continual handle objections, right? It's like, well, Brock, you played here in 2019. Okay, I'll get 4 friends and come back and do a songwriter show. How does that sound? You know what I mean? It's just like, just keep going and keep going. And you're totally right. How it's just that you have to, and it's like any entrepreneur. And I do attribute that to being from Saskatchewan. It's a farmer mentality, right? It's not a perfect day out. Who cares? Just get it done. Just keep going.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. There's
absolutely.
a hardiness to
and-
Saskatchewan people that are just like,
Yeah.
no, let's just get it done. It's okay.
Yeah, and the people that think like, well, I just got a gig and I went and played. It's so much more than that, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
You got to be fully involved in your career and in what you're doing, and you have to know so much more.
Yeah, no
But you still
kidding.
have to do
100%.
there's still a lot of work that needs to get done, right? So
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can't just be the artist and sit back anymore and write
I
songs.
give you a big COVID hug for all the hard work that goes on behind the scenes that people don't even realize, that
Yeah.
happens.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that album, 8.
Yeah.
Why'd you call it 8?
Good question. Yeah, it was my brother's football number in high school. Yeah, and the
Oh,
8th
wow.
song on the album is called "Staring at the Night," and is a song I wrote for my brother.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And my brother passed away.
Yeah,
in
I was
2011.
I
Yeah.
was like, wow. Again, sorry to hear that, man. You've
Yeah,
really,
thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Did not know this stuff, right? And this is the thing about doing this is you find out,
Totally.
you find out, hey, man, how you doing? I'm great, man. But then you find out, wow,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
wow. Well,
Yeah.
that's a lot of pain for you, buddy. And I'm
Yeah.
glad to see you,
And the album
still
sounds
kicking it.
beautiful, though.
Yeah.
It sounds so
Thank
good.
you guys. Thank you.
So wait,
And yeah, sorry.
So you go ahead. You were gonna say something. You want to
Yeah,
hear you
no,
talk.
I was just gonna say, a lot of pain for sure. But to be honest, I've never looked down on any of the situation. I know a lot of people who have gone through a lot of bigger situations, and I didn't. I've lost my physical father and brother, but they're in my thoughts every single day, and I get so much support from them and from those memories and from just going through those challenges in life, and really making me who I am. And, now I truthfully look at small challenges that maybe somebody else looks at and they're not a big deal and you cruise through them. Right. So perhaps a bit more of a harder shell growing up, but leading to a more relaxed, take it as it is, let's just deal with it, lifestyle for me and my family, which I kind of love. We can kind of get through any obstacles and challenges together just because, that's the mentality.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's incredibly inspiring because, a lot of people do go through loss, but like through the loss, you found a lot of love. Like it
Definitely.
was always there. And just, the love, it comes through even from your dad and from your brother, through other people like your dad now, and just
Totally. Totally.
that love comes through. So
and you
that is
celebrate it, right?
amazing.
Like
Yeah.
the album being 8 and writing a song about it and sharing the stories. And another huge thing that has really made me who I am is being a songwriter. You guys know this. You have to get up on the stage and you have to tell your stories. Even right now, I'm not afraid to tell you guys anything. We're all walls down here, right? Because we're songwriters and we're used to digging deep and sharing stories and emotions to be able to connect with people, right? That's what makes you vulnerable and what makes you honest.
Right.
And I released another single last year called "What I See," and it's about how amazing I think my girls are in my life, and I wanted them to be in it, and I couldn't be more proud of that. So going back to the 8 album when it comes out, and when that video comes out last year for "What I See," it's an incredible experience, and you're super happy about it, but it's what it means to you personally as a milestone, and is something in your life that kids and grandkids can look back at. That physical album on the wall. To me, I've never lived up to the hypes of dear friends, and I never will. But that's because it's on such a huge level in my mind. And so be able to put an album beside their album on my steps is what means the most.
Right.
Yeah.
And even to think like, of the people who could possibly watch this show and hear your story and go, wow, I want to write a song about what he went through. It's just another extension of
Totally.
that, right? So
Yeah. Or even just write a song about being more vulnerable and tell your own story, right?
yeah. So
But just
thanks.
let the walls down.
Yeah.
No
Thanks for
kidding.
sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that I saw as I'm listening to you on Spotify, and I'm going, this song Collide has over 150,000 listens on Spotify alone. Now, what made that song? I mean, your last 2 singles are going up, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that song's 150,000 listens on Spotify alone. What did you do for that? How did it catch? Did it get on a playlist? What happened?
Yeah, that's a great question. And to be completely honest, I don't really push Spotify much. I know there's a lot of ways that you can market numbers and try to get to more playlists and this kind of thing. And last year, our major focus was radio. I think that there's a lot of pillars in the music industry, whether it's performing live or whether it's performing for radio, playing for radio. And your online streams is another one of those sections. So it could be a matter of just kind of focusing when we're focusing on different things at different times. But when it came to Collide, it was a song that I co-wrote with a good friend of all of ours, Mr. Cody Prevost. And it was just one of those songs that we both sit down, and I think we probably had it done in 15 minutes just because we knew the storyline. I was visually in the movie watching the story of this couple, who'd been together. They were high school sweethearts, and our story was that it was the end of summer and one of them was going away to college and they weren't sure if they were going to be together or not together. So we just sat down and banged this song out, and it's melodic, it's simple, it's straightforward, it's easy to listen to, and I think it just reacts with people. I think it's one that's easy to hit replay to. So maybe the shares and the plays are a little bit higher just because it's just got that hard end. It's not a fadeaway fluffy ending. It's just kind of like a whomp, and then you're like, hey, I want to hear that again.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a little. Maybe I got to write more songs like that.
That's the whole idea, is write a song that people go, I want to hear that again.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
But, and it's been out longer, so
yeah.
We watched the video today.
What I see?
Yeah, what
Yeah.
I see.
I see.
And it was very well done, and I really like that song.
Thanks.
It was so sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so sweet, but,
And that's so you have one little girl, or
there was one in the oven there still.
okay, so
Yeah.
you have two girls, right? How old are they?
Well, Hartley is 5 months old and Lennon is 2.5.
Oh my gosh.
And what's cool is
look
there
at
was
that.
oh, there you go. That's Lennon. Yeah, that's playing the Decker Center in North Battleford, warming up a few years back.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
But anyways, what I was gonna say about that song is it's making its way up there. It's climbing up on judging from what I see on Spotify, because that's what that's where I get my streaming music from.
Yeah.
And now around that song, you were at the Centennial Auditorium.
Yes, I love how you said that too. Not TCU, you said Centennial.
Right.
I love it. No, that's awesome. That's great. I love it.
That's my first concert was Crime of the Century by Supertramp at Centennial Auditorium.
Awesome.
But anyways, and we got to play there the first time. It was like moving back home and going like, I've never played the Centennial Auditorium, and we had the opportunity to do it with Telemiracle.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So,
Yes.
So Leslie probably is like, I'm so used to those big theaters, whatever. But it was special to be hometown, right?
No, I thought it was awesome. I loved it.
So I remember that back in the winter, you that event that happened there. Was that bums in bums in the seats, or was that just a streaming event?
That was the event that happened there. Which one? Sorry.
When you around the video, did you do a Centennial Auditorium gig as well?
No,
just shot the video, right?
No,
yep, just shot the video. Yeah, they have a cleaning fee for every single row that you use. So it's like there was no show because that would have been expensive.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we did do fake things, like we put up fake posters and things that said sold out tonight.
Well, you fooled me,
awesome.
Because I bought a hook, line, and sinker, and I thought, awesome.
That's great.
It didn't surprise me that you were at the Centennial Auditorium. I was like, yeah, wow.
Oh, the premise is that it's a surprise show for Shannon and Lennon, and that it looks sold out, and they have a ticket, and they're coming, and then they realize they're the only two at the show.
Well, it was very beautiful to watch you sing the song and know that you're singing it directly to your wife and
Oh
your
yeah, that
father.
was
That
yeah,
was pretty
gorgeous.
cool.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys. And huge full circle moment for me too. Centennial Auditorium, as you guys say, like I grew up with just an incredible amount of support from my single mom and then my father, Jack, when my mom remarried. And I was in musicals growing up and high school bands, and basically any direction I wanted to go, they just said, "Sure, here you go. You know, go have fun, do it. Here you go. Here's your support." So that was wonderful growing up. And when I was 4 years old, me and my brother Kaz, who was 2 years older than me, and my mom was part of the Opera Society. So my very first time performing was for the Opera La Boheme at Centennial Auditorium on the stage. So
Oh,
what
wow.
my very first memory ingrained in my head is all the balcony lights and all the things and going out and singing with my brother and my mother, and we're for La Boheme. So that stage is when COVID came last year and there was this huge lockdown, and it basically the opportunity popped in my head of what's my dream venue? Let's go get it.
No kidding, right?
Yeah, for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
Very
Yeah.
similar memory that you must have too about being on stage for Hair.
Oh,
You were in
right.
Hair?
No, my dad was he's a musician and he played in Hair. And when he would take me when I was a little girl, because we lived in Toronto, whenever they were playing in, I don't know what theater it was in Toronto, but it was a big show then. He would take me and I would sit on the chair beside him while he played his trumpet in the band. And then at the end, when they all get up and they dance around naked or whatever, I was allowed to be I don't think they were fully, I can't remember.
No,
Maybe I blocked it out.
that dancing
but-
around naked is me at the house here.
That was the Pursuit of Happiness. That wasn't Hair.
Exactly. No, but I would go out and dance on stage. So
Right.
yeah.
That's
Well, that's
incredible.
cool.
But that was
Very,
Massey Hall.
very good stories here of the three of us. Single
Yeah.
mother,
Single
musician
mother, but musician
parents.
parent. My
Yeah.
parents are musicians, and no, for
I love
sure,
it.
lots of stuff.
So,
Yeah.
I noticed this is sort of a trend. And when I look at your Spotify page, I'm not trying to plug Spotify or anything. There's other
No, of
great streams.
course.
But you did the album, and then you've just been putting out singles.
Yeah.
Is that sort of like just do you feel that that's just sort of the what you got to do nowadays as an artist is just keep refreshing it, put it on a song?
Because a lot of
We were
artists
talking-
do that
We were
because
talking
they
about that earlier about 7-inch singles. Today is the day that they were
the
first
45s.
the 45, right?
Yeah.
7-inch,
Yeah.
45, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Is that was a singles market, right? It used to be a singles market
Yeah.
for the longest time.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
So
And all those phrases that people aren't even aware of anymore, like B-sides and rarities, right? Where it's
Right.
like you put out the single and the backside was the one that kind of gave you some heart, This is what the label wants us to release. Here you go. Here's your 2 minutes and 14 seconds. She loves you. And on the backside, it's how I really feel.
Yeah,
Right,
totally.
right.
Absolutely. Oh
Totally.
my
So
gosh.
do you feel that that's just is that an approach that you're taking right now, or are you collecting songs for another album?
Yeah, another album
or-
coming or
Yeah, to be completely honest, I'm kind of done guessing what the industry wants me to do. I'm just kind of we're having fun. So we released 8, and then we put all the singles from that album to radio. One would do good, so we're like, okay, what's the next one? We'll grab that one. Go next one. Go next one. Go. Well, now it started with putting together a couple of tunes and going into the studio and recording them in process of building a next album, because you always want the albums, right? So we've released 3 singles over the last little while, and they would probably be on the next album. But the concept is just to just because here's the next song I want people to hear. I think the negative side to this whole digital world and releasing an album is the lack of excitement when you release a single after you've already put it on an album. I really found that where you got to the 4th single after the album, people are like, here's the new single, and people are like, sweet, man. Yeah, that's track 6, right? Yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah.
It's
but think of this differently though, right?
Yeah.
Because you're always trying to reach new people.
yes.
And if that one song, if it's the 4th single off the album, is the one that someone goes, hey, I find Brock Andrews finally hit my ears, right?
Totally.
And then there's a whole album. Wow, this is great. So,
Totally. But we already have content on all of those sites, right? So you're right. Like you always want to have. Actually, I heard this from Gene Simmons one time. Had a couple of run-ins with him, and he's just an incredible speaker and fantastic advice giver. And the advice was always, if an opportunity knocks at your door, you have to be ready for the opportunity. And it sounds super simple, but in terms of if you bumped into somebody on a subway and he happened to be this major record label executive and he happened to know you were an artist, do you have the song that can persuade him right now? Do you have the speech ready to tell him to listen and give you his time and then go, you know what, we are going to sign you? Do you have the website? Do you have the albums on iTunes? Do you have are you the package? Are you ready? Because if you don't have any of that stuff and an opportunity knocks on the door, you can't give that record exec anything that tells you that you're what that person's looking for. Right? So I look at it this way is if I release a single, people can search me and they can find my songs, right? So that side is in my mind covered right now. What I look at is I want my friends and family who are, or let's be honest, the majority of people who stream my stuff because I love them and it's just a world of support from everyone. And I want them to be excited. I want to go, hey, a new single is releasing next week and not think, oh, it's one of the ones that's been playing in my car for the last 8 months, you know?
Right.
And don't get me wrong, there is no wrong way to do that because I've done that and it's fantastic. But right now sorry, go ahead, John.
Yeah, they'd be cheering for you though. They'd be cheering for you.
100%. But right now I'm in a world of let's give them something new. So if I say new singles cracking next week, everyone's going to be like, sweet, I wonder what it is.
Exactly. And that harkens back to, you know, what Gene Simmons told you about. You bump into a record executive on the subway or whatever, and you got like your 30-second pitch. And we talked about that behind the scenes stuff, that all that hard work that you have to do behind the scenes.
Totally.
So that when that opportunity presents itself, you can go, man, ready. Here I am.
100%. And if you don't do the hard work, if you're just sitting waiting and complaining that none of the stuff breaks are coming your way, that was me in the first 10 years, right? I wasn't ready for any of those.
Yeah. And it's like the harder I work, the luckier I get. That's that old saying,
that's exactly it.
Right.
Yeah, true.
That's good advice. So any young artists that are watching tonight, I hope that you get out and start playing.
Just do it.
Just
do it. Don't wait.
Get your story straight and get your background there so it's ready to go. Always be ready. But now, so the first place I met you I think I actually met you as a Fender rep before I met you as a country artist.
I thought we first met at an SCMA. Was it an SCMA? Or maybe, sorry, it was SAS Music.
There's a SAS Music event, and we happened to leave at the same time.
Yep.
So anyways, let's talk about your nominations. You got 2 nominations this year.
Yeah.
2? Am I right?
2. Yeah.
Am I got that right?
Yeah.
I got that right. Male Artist of the Year and Country Music Person of the Year.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Is that right? So, wow. How many of these awards have you ever been nominated for since 2016?
You've had a ton of nominations.
Yeah, it's 14 or 15. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Very popular.
Well, thank you for saying that.
wait a second though. Now to go back to Saskatchewan geography, it seems like you always got something on the go again, and that's, you know, it's like another lesson for people to learn is like just be there, just, you know, by Menon, right? Costanza, right? You know,
yeah, you want people just remembering you,
remembering you, being in their face, and not that you're annoying, but you certainly, you know, I always see your stuff, and maybe it's the algorithm,
awesome.
But and it's like it always strikes me like he's doing something.
Yeah, exactly. You know, there's something
busy,
going
right?
on.
So
there's something going on
so
there. Yeah,
you're very real, and that is awesome. You got some great comments here. From
we got some comments here. What do we got?
Hallie, Thyman, Tieman.
Yeah, there's
Tieman, you got it.
Tieman, I got it. Was that the 4th try? She's giving you some hand claps and some black hearts. Joan Stanjic.
Love it.
Joan Stanjic.
She said Wendy Andrews' heart. Brock's songs are beautiful.
Brock's
and
songs
he is
beautiful.
A great songwriter.
Yeah.
He is. Thank you.
Oh, and Joan Stanjic said, "Dear Friends was an awesome band So much talent.
Absolutely.
Right on.
Absolutely.
Right on.
You know, we still run into those stories. You know, me and my wife will be out and about and talking about somebody, and something dear friends comes up, and they look at you across the table and they go, "Wait a minute!" And they go and grab a record from a back room, or call their parents for a second and go, "Wasn't that album? Didn't they play
Oh,
our high school
wow.
grad?" It's like,
Oh
yeah,
my gosh, isn't that awesome? How many people it just the music connects with,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
yeah,
And so, are you still at Fender?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
very lucky to be in my, I don't know what year, 7th year with them. So yeah, and
nice.
it's opened up so many doors, and I'm an endorsed artist from Gretsch as a result of the Fender
Sweet.
collaboration,
Nice.
and yeah, and
Yeah.
no,
And
I love my time with Fender, especially through all of this. Guitars are in every house and flying off the hooks, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
oh,
big boom right now for music, which is great.
yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. I know that I just bought a bass actually.
Ooh, what'd you
Yeah.
get?
Well, a friend of mine works at Long McQuaid out east, and he posted this picture of a white Squire Jazz 1987 made in Japan, right? And my main
Yeah,
bass that I still have, that I've kept, I bought in 1986 at Long McQuaid on Bloor Street from Julie Long, and it was a 86 Squire Jazz bass made in Japan. And
ooh,
I put Seymour Duncan pickups in it. I recorded both Pursuit of Happiness albums, countless Universal Honey, and
He
Chocolate Rain
broke
Records.
the neck on it.
ooh.
Throwing
No, I didn't
not
break
that one.
Oh,
Oh, okay,
that was
wait.
a Gibson that the neck broke
Okay.
on. Yeah.
that makes sense. That makes a lot of
That's
sense.
right. Sorry.
But
Yeah.
anyways, he had he posted these pictures of this white 87 Squire Jazz Japanese made, and it was just too good a deal to pass up. So I
Oh, I love that.
put my
He
money
went
down.
for it.
But
Yeah.
I love
yeah.
that. Well, my dad's 78 Jazz is, which way are you going? This way?
Is it?
He's right there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wow,
Oh,
Where's it? There it is.
that's so
yeah.
cool. That's so cool.
Oh, that's
And how
awesome.
many are on that wall? What do you got there?
Like I say, I borrowed them from the band.
Okay.
So
Are
there's
you
a
at a
couple.
long? Are you at a Long McQuaid? By the way?
I'm in the acoustic room.
Yeah, no, that's great. And can you play all of those?
No,
Plays a song on each one of them.
I know 6 chords.
That's about a dozen albums, so you better get busy.
That's fair. The joke from my guys is that every time I bring a new song to them, it's in G. 'Cause that's just where I live.
Yeah,
Right,
G's
right.
such a good
Speaking
chord.
of your band, is it the same guys you've had now for a while? I know you got Darcy in there, and
Yeah. Darcy's an incredible drummer. We have Brandon Ziola on the bass, and from there we have Mr. Evan Friesen, who we brought in. I'm going to say 2 years ago now. Who's from the orchestra. He's a specialty player, and he's one of 2 of the most just incredible musical ear guys that you've ever heard. You know, you kind of give him a different instrument and he can just play it. You know,
Yeah.
he can take a stringed instrument and just make it sound like it sounds. Does that make sense? Just pretty incredible. Yeah, and then Keegan Barker is on lead guitar right now. Yeah,
right.
so
Cool.
just in. Like I say, absolutely. I've always wanted a full-time band that are just friends of yours, first and foremost. And the fact that they're as talented as they all are, you know, Darcy's been with me since day one. And I mean, he's the back-to-back drummer of the year in the SCMA, and he's nominated again for very good reason. Actually, all my guys are nominated right now, except for Keegan because he's brand new to the SCMA. But yeah, and you know, like even SAS Music, right? Like we wouldn't have met without side of that. And like Hal said before, like the 2 organizations are just such a wonderful, benefits to us living here in Saskatchewan as musicians. So yeah, if there is anybody new out there listening, that's the first step. Sign up SAS Music, sign up SCMA, and get out and support everything you can.
Yeah, it's just a great community.
And again, what you're saying too about having the bunch of friends that you play with, whether you start a band as friends or become friends through being in a band. I tell people that, you know, put a band together, get a band going, and get that chemistry and get that magic that happens when 4 or 5 musicians play together and know each other and sort of you develop a sense for each other.
It's just
and
the best.
and that can take you places rather than, you know, just trying to be like, you know, I wrote this song and I'm gonna, you know, get this guy to play bass and this guy to play drums and record it and then see what happens. You know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you got to roll the dice and get out there, right? You just got to do it.
And you know, it's an honor to be a front face of those incredible musicians. It really is, you know, to have my name on the thing. I often joke around that it should be named something else just because they're such talented guys. But like you say, it's something that we definitely miss. I have not missed it. You know, I shouldn't say I've not missed it. I've missed it a ton, especially that feeling when you walk on stage and you have the drums behind you and you have the Brando sitting right there singing along with you. And just to have that warmth of your guys and the support from your guys is amazing. I've been lucky enough to take the year off from live shows just because, I mean, I have 2 daughters under the age of 3 that I've been able to stay home with and just have an incredible summer with, incredible winters with, and just make memories that'll last a lifetime. And it's made me rethink the amount of shows heading into next year or the year after, right? But
Yeah,
yeah,
no kidding. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard
yeah,
when you got them, the little ones at home, and yeah.
totally. But then also they need to be side stage, making all those memories like Leslie was talking about, and like I had growing up with dear friends, right? So pretty
Oh,
excited
yeah.
for whatever the future brings.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
totally.
So what do you got coming up? You got some summer shows booked? You're saying maybe if it happens,
Yeah. And if
the
it doesn't,
wheels,
we'll make it happen.
if the wheels don't fall off the wagon, you'll make something happen. You'll do something,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
Totally. Totally.
anything you
Yeah.
can say that you got lined up? Or
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just-
We have some radio singles already coming out that are starting up. And one actually I just played a Zoom concert with for a college in Alberta last week and debuted one of them called Tinderella. So pretty excited to see what that becomes. And like I say, you know, it's we have the mentality in our group of if the opportunities don't come, make the opportunities. So
Mhm.
if the festivals don't work out, then we're just gonna have a fantastic summer with our families, and then as soon as fall hits, we're gonna come to a theater near you.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, no
Right on.
kidding.
Well, hopefully,
There's someone here that just made a comment.
I was going to say, hopefully we can share the stage
Oh,
someday soon. So,
absolutely, you guys.
Jennifer Kabatoff.
Brock is the best ever.
He
wrote our wedding song for the first ever Valentine's
Forever Grateful.
Valentines.
Valentines.
Yeah.
Hey, your
It's like-
fans like the black hearts. What's up with that?
I've never even seen those.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thanks for sending that message.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Valentines is a competition that we've ran the last couple of Valentines, just giving away a love song. So I was able to work with Jennifer and her then fiance and get some notes from them and write them a song and took it into the studio and recorded it. And then a couple months later, they sent me a video of them dancing to it on the beach in the Dominican for their first dance.
Are you writing this down? That's brilliant.
We'll do it together the next one.
Yeah, good job. Awesome. Okay, well, buddy, wish you best of luck in the upcoming awards. We're going to be watching.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much.
And look forward to seeing you in person again.
Yeah,
in real time.
Yeah, and seeing you play, and
yes,
yeah,
definitely. And we have to share the stage together, you guys. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah,
I was a little bit nervous about following up Hal because he's such an incredibly talented guy, and I myself have reached out about about getting some production with him and stuff. So but anyways, I thank you guys so much for your time and for this outlet as a Saskatchewan musician who's just kind of, you know, we're all just trying to do our thing, and so when you guys texted, it was, you know, we have time right now. So when you guys texted, it was an honor. Okay, so are we episode 2?
10.
So I just saw the last one was Jay Semko the last one or the first one?
First one.
First, yeah.
Okay. Because that's the top pinned post on your site.
Oh, what does this say?
I think that's what's going on.
Oh, there's another comment here.
We have nothing to do with that. They might fire us at any time.
No, that's why I thought I was as an honor to be on the show with you guys.
Yeah, we're honored to have you.
Yes,
Elaine,
we have another comment here.
Yes,
from Elaine.
Brock Andrews is one of the nicest young men I know. She must not know very nice.
That's my auntie. I
Wish
love
him
it.
all the best.
Wish
Love
him
you
all the
lots.
best.
Well, thank you, Auntie Elaine.
Yeah.
So
that's
important to
awesome.
note. It's
Go
important to
ahead.
note for you guys is my father and mother in Dear Friends were Guy and Wendy Beckler, and so that was Elaine Beckler. So my name when I was born was Brock Beckler, and I still hold it as a middle name. So full name Brock Beckler
Oh.
Andrews. Yeah,
Oh,
little trivia for you guys.
There you go.
yeah, no
Any
kidding.
people who are trying to hack into his accounts might want to make note of that.
Totally.
We
You're
can block that. We
silly.
can mute that later. Just kidding. Anyways, it was awesome talking to you tonight.
Yeah, it
Brock,
was so good
Thank you,
talking
can't
guys.
to
wait to
you.
see you again in person.
Yeah, you're
Best of luck
awesome.
on the 17th.
Yeah.
Thank you,
And
guys.
if if you ever want to tell us something to say about you on our show,
Yeah, we'd love to have you
we'd love to have you
back. There's
back
so
or
many
Oh,
more
whatever.
things
that's
we can talk
Yeah.
about.
oh man.
Time just flies, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
it's
does.
and honestly, I love this episode. And I've been watching some of the last ones, but I'm just super excited to see all the next episodes you guys have. You guys are fantastic people to chat with, and really great people. And like I say, I follow your social medias, and I love seeing all the cool videos you guys are coming out with, and how the cool vibe your band has. And so I'm a champion of yours as well. And thank you
Oh,
again for having me on. I really appreciate it.
thank
Right
you.
on, man.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Yeah,
thanks so much.
thank you
Yeah.
guys. Of course.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brock.
Thanks, Brock.
Yeah. And
We'll
thanks
send you-
everyone who tuned in.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks for all the nice comments tonight. Cool.
Okay, that was just a great night.
That went by so fast.
It really did.
I think we talk too much.
We do? Yeah, maybe we do.
Maybe we do. Maybe we
Maybe we-
shouldn't say so much.
Maybe we should just let them talk because
Yeah.
they're awesome.
Okay, there's 30 seconds of dead air.
Okay.
All right, that's over. No.
Okay, so just what are we doing here? Show wrap. We're wrapping it up. I'm just so taken with Brock and with Hal. Wow, and we never spoke. I've never really spoke much to Brock before, but you just really feel his heart. Like he's just real guy and just very yeah. It was really great talking to Brock.
I was kind of something came over me when I found out the connection there.
Emotional. Yeah.
It was very
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it was very
I saw you
emotional.
tearing up a little bit there.
Yeah, it totally was.
Anyways,
Yeah.
thanks, Brock, for sharing your story.
Yeah.
with us.
So what's happened around town? We always just say you just have to check your club website and see what's going on. We're not, I don't know if there's very many things going on around town right now, but there will be. And, it's just, there will be. And let me just see here. Thank you to our guests, of course, Hal Schrenk and Brock Andrews for coming on the show tonight. And we want to thank our sponsor, Field Fox Gardens and Cookery. And make sure you order that lasagna at fieldfox.ca. Treat yourself. And please subscribe and follow No YXE on YouTube and on Facebook. The Green Room also has, and No YXE have t-shirts up there. So just check that out. And yeah, and we're going to just tell you a couple of other shows that are happening here on No YXE channel. There is the Slow TV YXE on Sunday at 10 a.m. And that's just real cool, chilled out, slow movement of places going by. And then there is a YXE Sports Podcast Monday at 6 p.m. And then there's Let's Chat that returns May 18th after the holiday Ramadan. So and then also we have Sportsline YXE with Linda Walker. And that's Walker. Sorry, Linda Walker. Thursday at noon. And then Voice of Saskatchewan and Civically Speaking COVID
Business Panel Thursday at 6:30. Voice of Saskatoon and Civically Speaking.
Yes.
COVID Business Panel Thursday at 6:30. Now, if you wanted to make that, could you put that back up, Ian?
Oh.
It's the VSCS COVID BPT. Now, Anyways, I was
And
just,
that why yeah. Anyways, the
Don't
next
listen to
and
me
the next
anymore,
don't
you
listen to him
listen. Yeah,
anymore. He's cut off.
next.
Now, In Focus YXE returns April 8th. In Focus YXE is a great little game show. And email the Green Room YXE at noyxe.com if you are an artist and you have something coming up, and we would love to share it with everybody. And that's about and just shameless self-promotion. We have a new album out. We're in a band called Tucker Lane, and our album is Random Fireworks on a Beach Obscured by Trees. So check that out at
Also, we just re-released Universal Honey's 4th album, Fearless,
Fearless.
on all digital.
So
and
check
streaming.
that out.
Yeah.
Lots of music out there, lots of fantastic artists in Saskatchewan, really. And we're going to have some coming up as well over the next couple of weeks in just kind of in preparation for the SCMA Awards, SCMA Awards. So have a great week, you guys. And we'll see you next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Keep rocking and rolling.
Peace out.